How to tween camera in Roblox. First we need a part where the camera will tween to, then we add a proximity prompt for player to interact with, and we also add a script inside the prompt. We set our button invisible for now, then we add a remote event and we name it Tween camera. Now in proximity prompt script we connect to the trigger event of the prompt, an anonymous function, and after that, inside we add the Tween camera event, but fired by the client, and we add the player as the argument for both the prompt and event. Then we move to the local script, and first we create some variables that we will use later in the process, such as player, humanoid root part, camera, and tween service, and we also create a variable where we store the tween info that we will use it for our tween along the way. We set 1 second for the tween time. For easing style we use quad. For direction we set it to an 0 for the repeat count and false for reverse. Now we connect the tween camera event to an anonymous function, and inside this function we create a variable for our tween point and we store it in this variable, then we create the tween. We provide as first argument the camera, then the tween info and the property we want to tween. In our case we need to tween the camera C frame to the tween point C frame, then we set the camera type to scriptable in order to manipulate it. We set the humanoid speed to 0 during the transition period and we set it back to normal after. Now we set the tween that we created to play and we check if the tween has been completed by connecting an anonymous function to the completed event of the tween camera, and we check its playback state, and we now make our shop button visible. Let's test it now. The tween work as we want it. Now let's make the button interact when we click it and tween the camera back to the player. In order to do that we connect an anonymous function to the mouse button one-click event of the button itself. Keep in mind that the script is located inside the button and we just call it by saying script.parent. We create another variable where we create the tween back of our camera. We set as the first argument camera, then the tween info and the property that we want to tween, which is the camera C frame, to the humanoid root part C frame. Then set the visibility of the button to false. Then set the tween to play and listen for the event when the tween it's finished and check its playback status. Now we can set the camera back to custom and we also set the player speed back to normal. Let's test it. And that's